All right. So, in honor of Black History Month, we are having a special interview today. So, I'm going to introduce this special person. This is DeVaughn Q. Scott Smith, the first Black woman to become a band director in the Hampton Roads area of Virginia. Her first year teaching was in 1976 at Blair Middle School in Norfolk, Virginia. She was an award winning band director, receiving numerous superior ratings at band festivals and competitions in Virginia and other states. She became the instrumental music specialist for Norfolk Public Schools in 1999, where she influenced and guided numerous band directors for the city. She returned to Blair Middle in 2003 and ultimately retired in 2010. She is currently assistant professor of music and music education, as well as university supervisor for instrumental student teachers. She is a member of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, an honorary member of Tau Beta Sigma Sorority. She also is an ordained deacon at New Calvary Baptist Church in Norfolk. She is a member of the Association of Black Women Band Directors, and she continues to be an adjudicator and clinician for musical groups. Introducing Miss Scott Smith, also known to me as Mom. So, Mom, how you doing today?
Hello, son. I am well. It's good to see you, even though I do not get to see my son every day.
Well, I talk to you every day.
Well, this is true.
So we're gonna have a little conversation where you guys get to learn about her journey and how she discovered music and some advice that she can give to other educators because I get all the advice for free. I
Mm.
should charge y'all for this, all this knowledge that she has and she's gonna share with you guys. So, our first question for today is: when did you first discover music?
Well, as a little girl, I've always loved music, but as a little girl, there was one special teacher, my first music teacher, Miss Dolores Howard. Miss Dolores Howard taught me. I was in the choir or the school chorus at our school, James Madison Junior High School, which included grades 6 through 9. But when I was in elementary school, she started a chorus class, and I loved the class because she was so sweet and kind, and we had such fond memories, and we had just good times in the class. And I said, "Gosh, she was a role model to me." So she is my first influential person into my founding of music, and that it would ultimately be a part of my life. So that's how I started. And I do want to add this: your your grandparents, your great grandparents, would always take me to parades, and I was just fascinated by the trombones and the trumpets, and I wanted to play the trumpet. Well, needless to say, I'm a clarinetist, so
Yeah,
y'all can figure that one out.
I got the brass talent. So, what was your background in music education? When, like, what schools did you go to? You know, tell us about that.
Okay, well, I'd like to start. First of all, I'm going to start. I need to start here because this is very important. How music, and there were actually three very influential people in my life as far as music is concerned. I actually started in sixth grade um, on the trumpet, was lousy, but I didn't give up. I thought my band director was going to tell me to get out of band. I had no future. But instead, he said, "You're having a pretty hard time with that instrument, aren't you?" I said, "Yes, sir." I said, "But please don't put me out of the band." He said, "No, I have no intentions of putting you out of the band. And by the way, that is one of the techniques I still use today." He said, "Why don't you try my instrument?" I said, "Well, what instrument do you play?" And he said, "The clarinet." I said, "Well, get me one, and I promise you, I will work very hard on it." Well, I did. And ultimately, I went to high school. And at the time that I was in high school, this was doing, I was sort of like at the end of segregation and integration in the schools. So I went to a predominantly white school. Um, And I loved it because the band was just superb. And I played clarinet, played well, and I taught myself how to play the oboe. Then I started taking private lessons with then Mr. Kenneth Kearling, um, because I never liked to be outdone and I wanted to be the best clarinetist that I could be. So that ultimately turned into a scholarship to what was then called Norfolk State College, which is now Norfolk State University. And it just blossomed from there. I knew when I was 10 years old that I was going to be a band director. I knew that. Because I was so innocent. I said, gosh, I've got to be a band. I just had this passion and I didn't want to do anything else, even though I loved history and science. I said, well, I'll be a history teacher, but music was still in the back of my mind. And I knew then I'm hooked. This is my passion. So then I went on scholarship. I was given a full scholarship to become a music major here at my alma mater. As a matter of fact, I'm in the very building where I started as a freshman. And I'm on the fourth floor of this building that I watched them build. So it's I don't know, it just makes me feel some kind of way. I never thought that I would again, ever teach at my alma mater. So I worked hard and then I started in a master's program at Virginia State. But then I came back to Norfolk State to work on my master's here. So my bachelor's degree is in a Bachelor of Science in Music, public school music, and my master's is in music, Master's of Music Education. So here I am, sitting in my office at Norfolk State University, room 425.
So, when you first got there, I was on my way out. So you kind of helped guide me as a student teacher. That was interesting.
Yeah.
When you see your mom in the back writing notes on you. So since you were 10, you knew you wanted to be a band director. So what kind of things did you encounter as a Black woman on your journey to becoming a band director?
Well, I always had a lot of influence by my, when I was in, say for instance, when I was in 7th grade, my band director saw something in me. So this is what would happen. When we would have school assemblies, he would play the piano and I would conduct the band. Now I was a 7th grader conducting the 8th and 9th graders. And even today, so long ago, they still joke me about that. Said that little girl standing up there telling us what to do. I said, well, they said, well, we're proud of you. And they oftentimes, they encouraged me. They pushed me to continue with my musical hopefuls, I'll say. That's a new term. But that's basically, I had support, not only from my teachers, my band director, and his mom, who was a music educator, but from the students as well, and from my friends to push me to become what I wanted to be. But whether they did or not, that's what I was going to be, a band director.
Cool.
Mm-hmm.
So looking back on your career, what are some of your proudest moments?
Oh, there are so many proud moments that I had to write them down.
Oh, but hold on, before you answer that, you were a band director for how many years? 34 years?
34 years. Yeah.
Okay, so you must have a lot of moments.
A lot of moments, but here are a few of my top ones. If I give you all of my moments in 34 years, we'll be on here for a long time.
That's fine.
But first of all, when I look at the moments that I'm most proud of, I had the honor of teaching the greatest kids in the world at Blair Middle School. And I also taught at a elementary school, James Monroe and Stewart Elementary. Those children fed into my school at Blair. And I just, these children, I thought that I would make a difference in their lives. Instead, they made a big difference in my life. Now, this was all before you.
Mhm.
My second most proud moment was, of course, the superior ratings that we would win every year. We would win straight ones, that would be straight A's in every category, and we did that for about 12 years straight without any twos anywhere in our ratings. So that was a big moment. But I think the biggest moment, the proudest moment in my entire life was the birth of my son.
Aw.
My son means so much to me, and I am so honored that, well, let me tell you, you really had no other choice, Anthem, because Anthem was always with me on field trips that we took. Um, and all of the little girls, all the little cute girls would take care of him.
Gosh.
He'd come back with toys and food. And well, Anthem, where'd you get all these? They bought them for me, mommy. So, and when you came into my life, I found out that I became a better teacher because I had more patience. Because I was your interpreter. Everyone would look at you and say, "What did he say?" I said, "Anthem says such and such and such and such a thing." So I was your interpreter. But I think that is the top of my list. So and I think the most the other most proud, or the other most proud moment that I still have a contact with those children that I taught in sixth grade. They send me notice that they've become lawyers, doctors, doctors in education, or they're in the medical field, they're professors. Oh, it just does my heart so well. And I think those are my most proud moments, when I can see that I perhaps saved some child's life through music.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I mean, what you saying that as far as me being around band, uh, that's why I became a band director. Just being around it, it's pretty natural. So thank you for giving me these gifts where I can share with my students as well. So we have one last question. And what is some advice you would give to future educators, especially a black women that are in the band field like you are?
Okay. That is a that is an excellent question. I have several. What has helped me to go all of these years as a band director, and still sometimes you know we're kind of looked at, this band director, being a band director is seen as it's dominantly a male profession. um but I would say to those, and even to the men who are coming up, but mostly to the ladies, be and stay prepared. Be and stay prepared. Never doubt yourself. Never doubt yourself. People will kind of work on your self-esteem.
Mm.
You have to make sure that you do not allow people to tell you what you can't or what you're not. Mm-mm. Never do that. I tell you that all the time. Ask questions from those who are successful in your field, but also ask those who perhaps were not successful, because you learn from both. That is most important. Leave Learn from those who have not been so successful. I just said that. Keep up with current events.
Mhm.
Keep up with current technology, because um, uh, education, it has, in my day, we didn't have the technology that you guys have today. Learn to use that technology to further enhance your children's or your students' knowledge. Because as you know, we all learn different ways. We have multiple learning abilities, such as visual, audio, kinesthetic, all of those things. And you want to be the kind of teacher who will use those or that information to teach all of your students. You have to remember, teachers, future teachers, that you cannot teach one way. Teaching and learning is not a one fits all. You have to learn how students learn different things. You have to write your lesson plans so that they will tap in to the way your students learn. That is most important. And continue to study your craft. And I'm going to tell you, and I know he's going to get mad with me, but get those degrees. You'll find out, some will say, yeah, well, go get your degree because you'll make more money. That's not the important thing. The important thing that if you continue with your education, you're able to take that you have learned and share it with your students. That's what good teaching is. You continue to learn. Now, I've taught all of these years, but I continue to learn. I continue to ask questions. I even asked you, Anthem, about technology. Though sometimes he's not patient. But anyway, I learn from my students. I ask questions. We have discussions. And here is one that I take to heart. Always be a critical thinker. Critical thinker. Now, what do you mean, Professor Scott Smith, by that? I mean this. When you're in the classroom, and as you know, we use a lot of technology. What are you able to do if technology breaks down? You have to be a critical thinker. What can I do to keep my students engaged? Because I had all of my lesson plans depending on what I was going to put up on the my technology up on the wall, or my recorder or whatever, or my iPad doesn't work, so that I can show them or let them listen to what I have for them included in my lesson plan. So you always have to be on your toes. You have to think quickly. And I found out, what are we musicians? We are creators. And I tell my students, we create. So critical thinking, of course, is idea. And we have to be enthusiastic. When you walk into the classroom, Mr. Smith, when I see you walk up to your students, you walk in there with authority. The students look and say, oh, Mr. Smith is ready for, even though they do not say it out loud, but they say, oh, he is ready. One thing you do, you stand there and you wait for them to immediately get to attention. And one thing I like about you that you must have observed your mom doing is, I never step on my podium unless there's absolute organization and quiet. If I do not see that, I will step away and step into the corner of the band room with my arms folded. And do you know who gets my class quiet? The percussion section. So do not see your profession as a job. I never saw my profession as a job. To me, I got paid for my hobby. So I've never worked a day in my life. And that is the truth. And to see you, and when I retire the second time, guess where I'm going to be? In your bedroom. As you need me. Okay.
But thanks, Mom, for the conversation. I know all these things about you, but I just wanted you to be able to tell your story.
Yeah, thank you.
I'm not going to be selfish with the knowledge. So if you watch this, hopefully you take something from it and you can apply it to your band or your chorus or your orchestra, or just in life, if you can relate to the things that my mom has shared with you today. So with that, we are going to say goodbye. And if you watch this video, please, share it with people who may be interested in hearing, or may need to hear what she says. All right. Goodbye, everybody.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. I love you.
Love you too, Mom.